Welcome to the BioWin Expert Talk podcast series. In this podcast, we will leave the floor to experts in the industry on specific relevant topics. During this series, animated by Janssen Belgium, you will hear different views on how Flemish and the Walloon biopharma ecosystems could reinforce each other to strengthen the position of Belgium globally. The speakers will deep dive into three important strategic axes: the chase for talent, the chase for innovation, and the chase for a supportive environment. This panel consists of Vinciane Gaussin, Managing Director of Welbio, Baudoin Regout, Advisor of Secretary of State Thomas Dermine, and Philippe Denoel, Head of External R&D Vaccines, as well as Sonja Willems, Strategic Director of Janssen Belgium. How can we identify and reinforce the necessary bridges between the Flemish and Walloon ecosystems to strengthen the Belgian position globally? How can Belgium become the Health and Biotech Valley of tomorrow?
Philippe Denoel, Head of External R&D Vaccines at GSK.
First of all, special thanks to Janssen for the invitation to this roundtable and for selecting such a great topic. I mean, BioWin, as I was saying earlier this morning, is about building bridges, and isn't this topic about building bridges? So thanks a lot for bringing this topic to the last roundtable of the day. So about talents, yes, talents are absolutely essential. I think talented people, talented brains, talented hands, they remain at the heart of our strong Belgian biopharma ecosystem. They are the ones which have kind of built the success, and they are the ones which contribute to research, innovation, development of solutions which have the impact that we know on public health. I also think that the biopharma ecosystem is continuously evolving. And this is based on new discoveries, new knowledge, the evolving science, basically. There are also new processes that are leading today to health innovation. And therefore, I think we can say that the talents of tomorrow will not be the same as the talents of today or of yesterday. And there is a need to train more scientists, scientific talents, with, for instance, digital skills. We need to define probably a new strategy of talent development in our country, a strategy of talent development in which multidisciplinarity, for instance, would be really core. And I'd like to say more about this. Probably there are a lot of talking points that we could go through and go more into the details on how together we could have those talents developed. I think that there is a lot to be done. I think it starts very, very early on during education, during the primary school, during early studies, because I think what is really key, what is really essential is to explain that there is a lot of attractiveness with science education, what we call STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. We need to explain our very, very young people in the countries, our child, let's say, that they can contribute to health, that they can make the life of others better, last longer, and they can make a healthier life for the people in the country and all over the world. And it's by going and by choosing those kind of studies, this kind of education, that they will really contribute to this. And there, I think there is a big space for collaboration. And collaboration is probably going to be a word that I'm going to use a lot. And when I say collaboration, it's collaboration between the schools, the universities, and the industry. I think we all could have testimonies. We all need to explain. And I mean, no, with all respect to the teachers, I think university professors or university researchers, I think also industry representatives, especially industry researchers, could bring very important and very interesting testimonies about what they do and how they contribute to health, how they contribute to a better living of the people on this planet. They could make fantastic testimonies for the youngest children in the country. So again, it's collaboration. It's also explaining that there are many different jobs possible that contribute to this health objective that I was mentioning. It's not only about scientists. We all know that in our universities, in our companies, we have lots of different jobs, lots of different functions, lots of different roles, including scientists, of course, importantly, but also including lots of support functions, for instance. And all of them play an essential role in the creation of solutions, in innovation in general. So I was with primary schools. Let's move to the next step, which is probably what I would call professional training, university education. And there again, I think the industry needs to collaborate with needs to collaborate with schools and universities. We can help them somewhat adapt the trainings, the curricula to the needs of the industry. We know what are our needs today, and we have also, I think, a very good idea of what will be our needs in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. This is probably what we should explain more. It's also an opportunity for us in the industry to provide a kind of industry experience to those students. I think this is definitely something that is easy to put in place, that we already do, but certainly that we don't do enough. I also think that on the industry side, we need to dedicate time and resources to education and to talent development, because at the end, this is all what this is about. So when we welcome university students or high school students in our labs, in our facilities, we really need to make sure that we will be dedicating valuable time to them. It's not only about, come here and have a visit, have a look at our labs. No, we need to talk about how passionate we are and how important we believe in talent development and how important it is to contribute to health. And then let's go even further in the training pathway, I would say. And when it comes to PhD, when it comes to postdoctoral training, I think again industry experience is absolutely essential. For instance, in the Walloon region, there is a funding instrument, Doctorat en Entreprise. Now it has a new name, I think, but basically the principle is that it supports PhD students who would like to conduct a PhD thesis work in collaboration, in very close collaboration, actually, with the industry. I think this is something that should be developed further. And the same is true with postdocs. And there again, the industry needs to take responsibility. We need to be attractive also for postdocs. Postdocs in the greatest universities of this country or of the world, it's absolutely something great, and I want to encourage that. But in addition to this, I think a postdoc in the industry can be of very, very high value if it is well done, if it's done on a very interesting topic, research topic, and if in addition to research, there is a real industry experience that is coming with it. And just a few examples of what I was saying, and then I will probably need to pause in order not to be too long. But I want to mention the work that BioWin is doing today with the industry and with the actors of training and development, which is the Talent Urgency Project. This is a very important project supported by the regional government, but also supported by the industry. And that will tackle this talent shortage that we have. The EU Biotech Campus that was presented earlier this morning will also definitely contribute to talent development. And then PhD postdoc at GSK, and I'm not going to talk too much about GSK, but we have a global PhD and postdoc program. GSK is supporting more than 70 PhDs and postdocs working in our labs, working in university lab, exchanging between the labs, and we provide them with an industry experience.
Sonja Willems, Strategic Director of Janssen Benelux.
Yeah, thanks, Philippe, for the very extensive, way of looking at talent. I fully agree. This is a critical chase, I think, for us as an industry. It needs a very focused approach, but also a very continued effort. And I'm also thinking about a few things. Also, when you look at the North, Vitaland Flanders, we're working with them quite extensively. The EU Biotech Campus, you've already mentioned. I would really hope that the North and the South would look at, where are we from a development point of view? What have we learned? What do we currently have in our plans? Where are the gaps? Where do we need to accelerate? Where do we need new solutions? That also from the North and the South, we look at how can the 1 + 1 is 3. Because one thing that we have seen, and it's something for the politicians, I think, going forward, and as talent is a regional responsibility, we have seen like our funding is often regional. So being based in Flanders is from Vlaio. And then it means that we cannot engage PhDs from the Walloon area in those projects. That is not allowed. So for us, it's easier to get a PhD from France to come and work on that project than a PhD from Wallonia. Of course, you understand the theory behind it, but I don't think it's helping us. It's not helping you trying to get PhDs from Flanders. It's not helping us trying to get talent from the. So that is a question to the politicians. How can we make sure that our inter-regional mobility of our talents is really supported as we have those great companies in the North and the South?
Baudoin Regout, advisor of Secretary of State Thomas Dermine.
It's interesting how indeed the single market is protecting more non-Belgian, protect more the mobility of non-Belgians, because the single market makes sure that there's freedom of movement for the workers, but that breaks down at the country level. That's a bit of a bigger debate. I don't want to be getting too much dragged into this. I think this is beyond my skills, and Thomas Dermine is not in charge of the next reform of the state. But from our point of view, what we have seen, and I say we, I mean the team of Thomas, we've worked on the recovery plan by having to work with the regions at the federal level, and having to get along to do something that is a coherent plan that makes sense across all kinds of dimensions, social, but also sustainability, mobility dimension. Let's make sure we're connected, and we don't have like a solution that stops at the the language border and then doesn't go further. So we've had to do that. We've also are collaborating strongly with the regions at the federal level for the IPK in health, and I am absolutely trusting that we can work really, really well together. I mean, at some point, there might be some political positions and interests, but those usually you can get out of the way and very quickly. And if there's noise, deal with it politically. Once it's out of the way, let's see what's sensible or what makes sense. And usually what makes sense in the north makes sense in the south. And on that basis, it's really possible to just be very professional and put things on the table that makes sense. That's been our experience. So I'm hopeful that going forward, we will see the same. And again, the work we've done so far in the IPK in health with the regions provides me great comfort that it's going to work out.
Thank you for listening to the BioWin Expert Talk podcast. We hope the content was valuable for your business and that it meets your expectations. Do not hesitate to contact the BioWin team if you have any further questions or if you need more information on a certain topic.